Good afternoon, dear learner, and today we shall begin our topic of application areas of ICT in our society. Because this topic is very wide, we shall not look at all of them right now, but the topic will be divided into several lessons, so make sure that you watch all the episodes regarding this topic. So today is just episode 1 or part 1, but make sure you make a follow-up until the end of the topic. Now, computers are used almost in all aspects of a society, as you realize or as you have experienced. But in our case, we shall only look at 13 areas, because if we say that we are going to look at all areas, actually it may not be very viable. So we shall look at a total of 13 areas where computers are used, or where ICT is applied in our society. Now, maybe before we get started, the term ICT refers to all those devices, the network components, the application programs, and the information systems that all combined allow people to interact with each other in this digital world. Now, I've mentioned a term there, information system, as you can remember in our previous lesson. An information system is just an arrangement, is a coordination of people, data, processes, and information which work hand in hand to enable an organization to do its day-to-day operations, including in decision making. I hope you have got your notebook and pen, because I suggest that you be taking your private notes, because not everything that you see on the screen is all about it, because I shall be talking about so many things that you might not be able to see on the screen. Now, when we look about an organization and decision making, an organization are things like businesses, government agencies, criminal enterprises, and any other whereby people work together with computers, and therefore they are able to not only process data into information, but by that interaction they are able to do what we call their day-to-day decision making processes. Now, as I've said that in this topic we shall look at 13 areas, but today we shall not look at all of them, but we shall only pick on 2, which are financial systems and educational systems. So as you can see on the screen, under financial systems we have got 3 areas that we shall be touching: the payroll systems, accounting systems, and banking systems. Whereas in educational systems we shall look at 4 areas: the CAL, or computer-aided learning, the CAI, computer-aided instruction, e-learning, and what we call computer-based simulation. To start with, let us look at financial systems, and the first area are what we call the payroll systems. Payroll systems has the main aim of processing accurate information about employee incomes. These include things like gross pay, deductions, net pay, and others. Actually, payroll systems are supposed to produce reports which can be analyzed in order to meet the organization's goals. Now, one of the outputs from this system is what we call a pay slip. Now, maybe you are a young learner, but if it were possible, you could ask your guardian or parent to show you his or her pay slip, so that you are able to figure out what this is. On the screen here is a sample pay slip. As you can see, we have got the earnings and we have got deductions, so that now we have the net salary. The net salary here is obtained by removing deductions from the earnings, or what you call the gross pay. So you take the gross pay, You calculate all the deductions and you remove them from that, and you are left with the net salary. Now, payroll systems manage everything having to do with the process of paying employees and also filing employment taxes. So Lana, if I may be too fast, you can, I think your device, whether it's a phone or computer, is able to maybe pause and rewind and forward so that you are able to capture all the details and all the notes as we move on. So you may pause as you write, or you may rewind if for example you missed a point. Now, they are put in place in order to keep track of the worked hours, for example, calculating wages, withholding taxes, and other deductions. And then also things like printing and delivering checks and paying government employment taxes. Now, so this system is actually software. So this software is often used for payroll, as I've said, and requires minimum input from the employers. So meaning that the whole system is automated by this software. Now, employers are only required to input things like the wages, the hours worked, and then the software will use that information to automatically perform calculations and also deduct withholdings. Now, in this payroll system, we have got also subsystems inside it. Maybe just to mention that the payroll process can be split into 3 stages. The first stage is what we call the pre-payroll activities, followed by the actual payroll, and then finally by the post-payroll activities. Let me highlight on these 3 stages. The first one is the pre-payroll activities, and this is important to establish. Okay, it's important to establish a company's the company's policies, such as a pay policy, leave and benefits policy, and also things like the attendance policy. So these are just things that must be determined first before we are able to process the information that has been captured on the payroll. And then now, after we have got, or we are through with these pre-payroll activities, we now move to the actual payroll process. And in the actual payroll process, we can say that this is the stage in the payroll process where the input data is put into the payroll system to actually process the payroll. This process results in the net pay being generated after adjusting taxes and deductions. After this process is complete, it is best practice to reconcile or figure out the values and verify their accuracy in order to avoid any errors therein. Now, the final is the post-payroll process, or what we call the payroll accounting. It's important that every organization keeps a record of all its financial transactions for the payroll process. Salaries are one of the most vital parts of operating costs to be recorded in the book of accounts. The payroll management should always ensure that all salary and reimbursement data is accurately entered into the company's accounting system. Now, after those 3 processes are complete, is now when we now go to the payout. Now the payment can be made, and the payment can be made either through cash, maybe paying employees through cash, by check, by bank transfer, or any other way that's available for payment, depending on how the organization operates. Let's move to the second subsystem of the financial systems. As you can see on the screen, accounting systems. Now, dear learner, when the word accounting comes to your mind, you think about money. It's actually issues to do with money, and on your screen you can see there's a very beautiful note there of a 1,000 shilling Kenyan note. Accounting systems have got also subsystems inside. Actually, nowadays nearly every business enterprise has already or is trying to acquire these accounting systems. Now there are 6 key subsystems and accounting systems, as you can see on your screen. We have what we call the customer order entry and billing, the inventory management system, the general ledger accounting system, accounts receivable system, accounts payable system, and also the cash book system. Let's start with the first one, the accounts order entry. Now, this order entry is actually the actions that are needed to record a customer's order into the company's order handling system. Just like you can go or you can walk into a restaurant and then place an order with the waiter. Basically, that is what it is about, because the waiter would ask you what you want, and then you will choose from the menu probably, and then she can write it down. At that time, he or she is taking your order. So actually, it's also some kind of an order entry, because that person is writing what you require. Now, once this information has been entered into the system, it is then considered as a sales order. So meaning that the customer has now placed an order. The information in the sales order is then used to schedule all the activities needed to fulfill that customer's order. Now when I say all the activities that may be needed, which may include things like buying, say for example, materials, producing the item, things like storage, things like shipment, and also things like invoicing. For example, if you would go to a carpenter and place an order for, say, a bed, this carpenter has to write down the details and the requirements, has to go and purchase the timber, process it, manufacture the bed, maybe store it for you for a while as it dries up and things like that, and then finally bring it or deliver it to you. Therefore, this order entry software allows the business to optimize the management of sales orders through the automation of order entry and other processing operations. Let's go to the second subsystems, which is what we call the inventory management. An inventory management system is a process by which you track your goods throughout your entire supply chain, from purchasing to production to the end sales. So, which means, or maybe you can just point this one out, it governs how you approach inventory management for your business. This system offers you the means of organizing all the elements that go into the inventory management. In other words, it is the process by which you track goods from one end to the other along your supply chain. For example, if I would use the same example of, say, the carpenter must know how much or how long in feet the timber that was bought, how much that was used to make the bed that you ordered, and probably how many beds are there in the store or how many were sold. So it's actually just keeping track, as you can see on your screen. I don't know if your device is a phone, maybe this diagram could not be very clear because of the small size of the screen, but you can see here is an example of an inventory management system of an industry. Just right here where my mouse pointer is the purchasing department. Now, this industry purchases raw materials, as you can see here, and also components. These raw materials and components are used to produce goods, as you can see where my mouse pointer is. These finished goods or finished products are stored here temporarily, and then where they are awaiting to be sold. So this system is used to track the whole of this supply chain. Let's move to the third area. Is what we call the general ledger accounting system. A general ledger is the foundation of a system employed by accountants to store and organize financial data, which later will be used to create the company's financial statement. Actually, when we hear about ledger, it's exactly what your accounts clerk does. For example, in a school we have got the accounts clerk, we have got the bursar. What they actually do in those offices is actually issues to or matters to do with the ledger accounting. A general ledger can also be said to be a record of a company's financial transactions. This general ledger accounting system summarizes and sorts a company's financial information. For example, in your school, the school buys goods and products from people. Say, for example, suppliers. When suppliers bring sugar, maize, beans, and so on, the school spends on such items. The school also pays for things like water, electricity, medicine, and other bills. At the same time, the school also collects fees from the students. Or the school might also sell products that maybe could be manufactured or made in the school to the people outside. So when we talk about a ledger account, it's just a summary or a record of income vis-a-vis the expenses. So as I've said, a general ledger is a record of a company's financial transactions that gives you an insight into your company's financial health. So meaning that from this system, you can either know whether your business is running at a profit, not making profit at all, and also running at a loss. A general ledger includes the following information. The first one is the revenue. The revenue is the cash earned from the sale of the company's products or services. The money that you get after selling your products or services, that is the revenue generated. At the same time, we have got expenses. Expenses are anything that your business spends on or spends money on, including things like salaries, electricity bills, maybe rent, marketing, and so on and so forth. Those are expenses. So at first, as I said, we have got the revenue, then we have got expenses. We also have what we call assets. Assets are anything of value that the business owns. They could be buildings, machinery, etc., etc. And also, we have got what we call liabilities. Now, an accounting liability is anything that your company owes others. Maybe things like loans, debts, and so on. Those are liabilities. So this system now summarizes the revenue, expenses, assets, and also liabilities, so that now it gives you a summary or an insight into the financial health of your business, your organization, or your company. Let's look at the next one, which is accounts payable and also accounts receivable. Now, the accounts payable, or what we call AP, is an accounting term that is used to describe the money owed to vendors or suppliers for goods or services purchased on credit. And here, dear learner, I can also remind you that even when you are at school, now, normally, sometimes when items are supplied to the school doesn't pay them immediately. Maybe they pay after a set period of time. So at that time that this has not been paid, these records are kept by the accounts payable subsystem. The accounts payable system is responsible for accurately tracking what's owed by suppliers. So not by, but to. What's owed to suppliers, ensuring that the payments are properly approved and processing of payments occurs in time. So anything that was taken on credit or that is yet to be paid is managed by this system. Accurate information on accounts payable system is essential to producing an accurate balance sheet. Let's talk about the accounts receivable. Now, accounts receivable is just almost the opposite of the accounts payable. Accounts receivable is any amount of money your customers owe you for goods or services they purchased from you in the past. Also, remember, dear learner, that not all customers pay for the goods or services offered instantly. There are those that may not pay at that particular time. So if you do business long enough, you will eventually come across clients who either pay late or even not paying at all. When a client doesn't pay and we can't collect their receivables, we call that a bad debt. A bad debt is just a case whereby it's like you have lost hope that this client is going to pay that debt and therefore is written off or is cancelled. Businesses that have been around for a while will often estimate their total bad debts ahead of time to make sure the accounts receivable shown in the financial statements are not unrealistically high, meaning that they are at a level that at least is manageable by that particular company. Let's go to the last subsystem under accounting systems, which is the cash book system. Now, a cash book is a financial system that records cash transactions. It captures all the cash receipts and cash payments, which includes things like funds deposited in the bank, funds withdrawn from the bank, and so on, and are recorded accordingly or in the order of their dates. Like you can see here on the screen is just a small extract from a sample report or a sample output from the cash book system. You can see the date, the details, and the figures there on your screen. So if you're using your phone, maybe I'm just hoping that you have got a feature of maybe zooming out so that you are able to see that clearly. Now, all transactions recorded in the cash book will have two sides, that is the debit and the credit. Actually, it has two identical sides. The left side is the debit side, and the right side is the credit side. The difference between the total of the two sides gives the cash in hand or the bank account balance. The transactions which are done on credit are not recorded in this cash book. So those that are in the accounts receivable are not included in the cash book. So by analyzing your cash book, you are able to know actually the amount of money that you have at hand, or the amount of money that you have in the bank. Still on financial systems, let's go to the third subsystem of the financial systems, which is the banking systems. And on your screen here you can see so many logos of some of the most popular banks in Kenya. Banks are actually one of the earliest implementers of ICT technology above the rest of organizations. I guess you know that obviously because of money, this is a very, very key and a very, very sensitive area. Now, in the banking industry or within the banking systems, we can also talk about smaller subsystems, which one we have got the processing of customer transactions, the processing of checks. The third is the EFT or the electronic fund transfer. We have got internet banking, and then finally we have got the mobile banking. All those five fall under the banking systems. Let's begin with the first one, processing of customers' transactions. Now this system aids in managing, monitoring, and recording transactions at banks and other financial institutions. The software helps manage front office services such as customer engagement, portfolio management, and sales of banking products. It also supports back office functions such as credit approvals, auditing, financial accounting, background verification, and systems integrations. Now, some of the transactions that are most common are things like deposits, because when you walk to a bank, either you are going to deposit money or also withdraw money. Inside the bank, we have got things like loans, whereby you can calculate interests. We have got also savings accounts, or accounts that hold people's money that are saved by them. So what manages all this is what we call the processing of customer transactions subsystem. The second on banking systems is what we call the check processing. Check processing, or sometimes called automated check processing, ACP, automated check processing, actually allows for faster clearing of checks. You can see on your screen here there is a hand, which I believe is a man writing a check. On the top right you can see a machine. Remember our topic that I posted on this channel on input devices. We talked about the MICR, the magnetic ink character recognition. So if you haven't watched it, please, you can go back and review that topic, because it has already been posted on this platform. Actually, this is just a device that is used to capture data directly from checks, and it offers a much faster way of doing it than manual processing. Now, paper checks used to be processed manually, as I've just pointed out, a process that took up to 7 days to clear, a whole week. But with this ACP, automated checks processing system, deposited checks are cleared by the end of the next day. If, say for example, if the check was deposited, say by around before or by say around 2 p.m., then the next day that process will be complete. The entire process of manual processing of checks has undergone a big change with the automation techniques that are used, or what we call the MICR, the magnetic ink character recognition technology. In this case, you deposit your check just as normal, which means you take the paper check and you take it to the bank and deposit it. However, the clearing process is now automated. Banks receiving check deposit will create a digital image of the check and then send this image along with other relevant information of the check to the other bank for processing. Now, this not only makes funds available faster, but also helps in detection of potential fraud sooner than later. Let's move on to the third, I believe. Yeah, third, the EFT, still under banking systems. EFT, or electronic fund transfer, is used to move money from one bank account to another. The transaction is completed electronically, and the two accounts can either be at the same bank or at different banks. Now, in most cases, EFT payments are settled on the next business day. However, they might take longer, for example, due to things like maybe holidays, weekends, and so on. But just on normal days, it will just be a day's business and the transaction will be completed. Let's move to the fourth subsystem, banking systems. Just under banking, we have got internet banking. Now, internet banking allows a user to conduct financial transactions through the internet. Actually, in some cases, it is also called online banking or web banking. So all those three mean the same: internet banking, online banking, or web banking. Now, this online banking offers customers almost every service that is traditionally available, including deposits, transfers, and even online bill payments. Actually, virtually every banking institution has some form of online banking available, both the desktop versions and also currently the mobile apps. In fact, here in the country, I think I've seen one for KCB, I've seen one for Equity, and so on. But almost every bank has got these platforms. Now, however, a customer needs a terminal device and an internet. When I talk about a terminal device, means a phone, a laptop, a desktop computer, or whatever, and also a robust or a reliable internet connection, and also above all that, a bank card to register. So once registered, the consumer sets up a password to begin using the service. One of the major advantages of this system, or what you call the online banking, is that it is easily accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wherever a customer wishes. Online banking is also fast and efficient. Funds can also be transferred between accounts almost instantly. The consumers can also be able to monitor their accounts on a regular basis, hence allowing them to keep their accounts safe. However, it also comes with a few challenges, e.g., for example, this system is dependent on a reliable internet connectivity. So connectivity issues from time to time may make it difficult to determine if the banking transactions have been successfully processed or not. Finally, under banking systems, let's look at mobile banking. You can see here on the screen, it looks like there's a woman here transacting money. I believe this is Safaricom M-Pesa or something. Mobile banking is the act of making financial transactions on a mobile device. A transaction can be in the form of a client paying for bills, like here in Kenya, we have got the Lipa na M-Pesa service, for example, whereby you can pay for bills, you can pay for goods, you can pay for services, and so on. You can pay for water, electricity, TV subscriptions, and so on. Now, some of the disadvantages, or one major disadvantage of this system is very, very obvious, because it includes security concerns. Anything that is on mobile and is online and deals with money, obviously, there will be questions about how secure and how robust they are as far as your money is concerned. Now, something else is that this system might also have a limited range of capabilities as compared to banking in a person. As compared to maybe banking maybe through something like the internet or just physically. Now here in Kenya there are many examples of these services like the M-Shwari, Lipa na M-Pesa, Easy 247, and so on and so on. Remember, today I mentioned that we shall only look at two areas, so we are done with the financial systems. Let's go to the second one, educational systems. Now, educational systems, as I had mentioned before, we have got also subsystems inside here. Let's begin with the first one, what we call the CAL, Computer Aided Learning. Now, CAL provides teaching and learning materials the way a teacher does in the classroom. Actually, it's a software that acts as the teacher in providing materials to the learner. It is an integrative technology which describes an educational environment where a computer program is used to assist the learner or to assist the user in learning a particular subject. It has completely modernized the way students learn by making lessons to be much more interactive and engaging. Actually, this system is able to arouse even the interest of even the most reluctant of the learners. The second subsystem here is what we call the computer aided instruction, CAI. Now, CAI includes the use of computers to teach academic skills and to promote communication and language development skills. It includes a computer, not a computer, but it includes computer modeling. It includes computer modeling and computer tutors. Tutors are just teachers. The method offers an interactive instructional technique whereby a computer program is used to present the instructional material as well as monitor the learning that takes place. So you can see here the CAI is actually more active than the CAL. I can say the CAL is passive, the CAI is active, because you can see it's also able to monitor. Actually, the CAI is just a teacher, but in form of software. On my screen here, you can see there is a snapshot of a program that is trying to demonstrate, I think, mouse skills, things to do with clicking, and you can see there it is demonstrating just like the teacher would practically or in person. Now, this system provides the following. So that's why I'm telling that this is a bit more active. It is a bit richer than the CAL because it provides things like text or multimedia content. Number two, it also provides things like multiple choice questions. It also provides problems or tasks. We don't like calling them problems nowadays, but tasks. It also provides immediate feedback, meaning that, for example, if the learner is attempting a task, then the feedback is immediate. It also provides notes on incorrect responses. It also summarizes the student's performance. It also provides exercises for practice. It also provides tests. Let's move to the next one. E-learning or electronic learning. This is a learning system based on formalized teaching, but with the help of electronic devices. One teaching can be based in or out of the classrooms. The use of computers and the internet forms the major component of e-learning. E-learning can also be termed as a network-enabled transfer of skills and knowledge, and the delivery of education is made to a large number of learners, either at the same time or at different times. Let me pose this question or challenge to you, dear learner. What you are doing right now while following me and attending this lesson, what is this actually? Is it CAL? Is it CAI? Or is it e-learning? So ponder that out, figure it out, and then write it on your notebook. What we are doing now. Is it CAL, CAI, or is it e-learning? Okay, lastly, on educational systems, let's look at computer-based simulation. It refers to the science of representing the behavior of real-life situations using computerized models. This software creates real-life situations which replaces very dangerous and expensive experiments in science. It's mainly used in areas where practical skills have to be learned, things like training of pilots, engineers, or also in other subjects like chemistry and so on. In fact, you can see here on your screen an illustration of simulation of cars colliding, and then maybe that data can be analyzed and used for a particular purpose. Thank you for the episode 1, dear learner. Expect more, so meaning that make sure that you follow up to all the episodes or all the lessons that we shall cover in this topic. Remember, we have only done 2, but as I told you, we have got 13 areas that we need to cover in this topic. So also remember to subscribe so that you are part of us, and so that you can be able to monitor as we progress. Thank you. Bye bye.